Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. Many of you don't know this, but I'm actually a huge fan of scary movies and scary stories. So today I have a big treat for you guys. Natural English listening through a scary story. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. And if you are currently studying English, definitely consider joining my channel membership. I provide both English and Korean scripts for all the videos, and silver members get access to videos where you can freely turn captions on and off. Now, without further ado, let's begin. My fiancée and I are from California, but her family lives in Colorado, and they own a cabin near Pikes Peak, way up in the mountains. After visiting them, they recommended we stay at the cabin a few days. We are avid hikers and we jumped at the opportunity. Colorado is very rich in Native American folk legend. Virtually every place you go used to belong to an indigenous community, and the few of them who remain keep the traditions and stories alive. Pikes Peak is no different. There are enough stories to give anybody the sense that the land itself is alive. Perhaps that has something to do with what is happening to us. Faye and I are currently at the cabin. It's day 4 and we were planning on leaving today, but things have gotten very strange around here and it looks like we're going to be here for a while longer. We have enough food for a winter and the heater is in stellar order, but the Wi-Fi is terrible and there is virtually no cell phone reception. We feel isolated. I'm writing this all now to give you an update on what's happening to us, and I will post it online when the Wi-Fi is working. The first weird thing that happened was the snow. There was no snow in the forecast, so we packed light, but on our first night here, just our luck, a blizzard pounded the whole area. My little Corolla vehicle is basically a brick of ice outside, and there's no way I'm going to try to make the 6-mile drive down the mountain to the town. I can only blame myself for trusting Colorado in the spring. After a day, Thursday, of lovely hiking and sightseeing, some really unsettling stuff started happening. We returned to the cabin just before dusk. We found an enormous dream catcher dangling from a tree about a dozen yards from the back door. This wasn't the kind you're imagining. The kind you buy from a novelty shop. This was made from twigs and twine, and it's about 3 feet in diameter. Absolutely humongous. Neither Faye nor I were stupid enough to touch it. We're veteran horror movie fans, and we know that's how you get cursed. That night, while we were eating dinner, we heard a bunch of noises in the woods outside. Twigs crunching, leaves rustling. This isn't unusual, because we saw some elk and deer on our hike, but the sounds were slow and purposeful. They stopped and started and were rhythmic, like someone was circling our cabin. I used my really bright tactical flashlight to look outside from the porch, but there was nothing. We stayed in all day on Friday and just cuddled, hung out, played some of the board games we brought and some of the Super Nintendo games we had in the cabin. In particular, Donkey Kong Country 2, which I have considered stealing because it's the greatest game ever made. It snowed again, and after dark, we started hearing some more noises. Around 1 a.m., Faye woke me up and told me she was hearing a voice outside. I strained to listen, and I thought I could make out the sound of a man crying very far away, but his voice was drowned out by the wind, so I wasn't absolutely certain of what I heard. We went back to sleep, but again, around 4:45 a.m., we heard him more distinctly and closer. He sounded like he was calling for help, but he would dip into another language that I've never heard before.
Help. Help.
We called the ranger station at the bottom of the hill using my cell phone, and they told us they'd get up there and check it out. But we never saw them, and I doubt they ever came. On Saturday, shit got really scary. It snowed again in the morning, and I stopped getting service for most of the day. Faye and I watched movies and tried to Skype with her family, but that didn't work. She went to sleep early, around 8, while I did some photo editing on my laptop in the living room. She woke up crying hysterically. When I asked her what was wrong, she said she'd had a dream that she was lost in the woods outside and something was following her. I cuddled with her until she fell back asleep, and eventually I drifted off too. Faye woke me up around 1 a.m. She was absolutely beside herself. I've never seen her so afraid in my life, and just the look on her face really unsettled me. She told me that she heard the man outside again, but she recognized the voice. She was absolutely convinced that it was her grandfather's voice, and that he was wandering around outside begging for help. Faye's grandfather died when we were seniors in college, 4 years ago. I told her that she was dreaming, but then I heard the voice too.
Help me! Help me, please! Please help me.
I never met the guy, so I wouldn't recognize his voice, but it did sound different from the night before. It sounded older. I had to do everything I could to keep her from running off into the woods looking for him. Eventually, she realized that the possibility of it being him was absurd, so we put a movie on at a good volume and fell back asleep. My cell phone wouldn't connect a single call. What happened last night, Sunday, was the thing that has sent me over the edge. Essentially, the same thing happened. Around 1 a.m., at which point I was still awake, almost expecting the noise to happen, I heard the voice. This time, it was a woman's. Thankfully, it was distant enough that it didn't wake Faye. I walked into the bathroom and cracked the window open just a tiny bit. The frosty air that came through that crack seemed like a death sentence to me as a Californian. Nobody could survive outside for that long in that kind of weather, not without serious, military-grade winter gear. And yet, someone was wandering around out there, stepping on twigs and crying? Now, I'm a reasonable person, sometimes even skeptical, but I'm telling you, the voice sounded exactly like my mother's.
Help me!
My mom is alive and well and living in Southern California, so when I heard my mother's voice out here in the Rocky Mountains, I knew something was really wrong. I would know my mother's voice anywhere. I think we all would. And I am telling you, I'm about 90% sure it was hers, which is way too sure to not scare the living shit out of me. I grabbed my light and went outside with a blanket wrapped around me and my hiking boots on. There were tracks in the snow as if someone was drunkenly shuffling around. Maybe they were injured. The path went right up to the bathroom window and then back into the woods.
Help me!
Each time the voice called out, I shouted, "Mom?" Or, "Who's there?" Or, "Who are you?" And each time the voice receded further into the woods. I'm pretty sure it was trying to coax me deeper and deeper into the forest, away from the cabin. I'm still alive now because I'm not an idiot. I'm not gonna die like some moron in a bad horror movie. I went back inside and made sure we were locked down tight. Since I'm not able to call the ranger station, I'm posting this instead, and I will upload it to you guys when the Wi-Fi comes back on. It is now 9:30 p.m. on Monday. I've been able to get online twice today. I wish I knew more about electronics, but I'm a history teacher, so I don't think I can fix the Wi-Fi or predict when it'll work. Faye hasn't been feeling well since noon. She developed a stomach ache and has been intermittently throwing up. We both ate the same thing and I feel fine, so I'm not sure what it is. She sometimes gets like this when she gets worked up. Although I'm an atheist, she's very Catholic and is pretty convinced that something supernatural is going on. No need for alarm at the moment. She does not have a fever and I'm keeping her hydrated and in high spirits. It seems like she's getting a little bit better and she went to sleep about an hour and a half ago. Some more noises to report. Cackling, repetitive vocalizations in the forest, probably 100 yards out. The tree line starts about 20 yards out, so this sound is coming from much deeper. Some movement spotted just behind the tree line at dusk, but it could be elk or deer. I couldn't really see very much. Keeping all the curtains closed, windows locked, furniture in front of the front door and back door, and I'm checking on Faye every half hour. Her dad will be here in the late morning to pick us up and dig my car out. If anything else significant happens, I promise I will update you guys. Hey there, my name is Navajo Joe, and my ancestors are Navajo Native Americans. I saw your post. Although we're not in or from Colorado, it sounds like you're dealing with a chindi, or an evil spirit. You were smart not to take down the dreamcatcher. That and the snow are blessings from someone or something protecting you from the chindi. Dreamcatchers are very powerful tools used not just for dreams. They are meant to filter out the evil while allowing the good to flow through. The fact that the chindi stays out of the boundary shows the dreamcatcher is working. Now, the snow. It might seem like a bad thing, but think about it. The snow is keeping you guys indoors at night when this stuff is happening. You are not wandering out for a midnight hike and second guessing going out to investigate too much. There are probably some old gods watching over you and protecting you. Next, your girl with the stomach problems. If you can find some local Native American medicine, get it. Normally, I would tell you to make some sage tea, but I'm not sure if there is any where you're at. Ingesting corn pollen or even a little natural tobacco could also help. You don't want the chindi following you home. Finally, chindi are evil spirits that will try to infect your life to feed off your misery and fear. Don't go outside or open the windows anymore. I cannot stress this enough. You're very lucky that that dreamcatcher was up and keeping it away. If you go outside again when it's calling, you run the risk of it coming in. Stay inside, close all the windows and doors, and ignore this bastard till morning. All right, good luck. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Once again, I'm Sean. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section down below, and maybe I'll make more of them in the future. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.